Yeah.
Everything is good. Like everything
Perfect.
is.
Okay, so we should be live on YouTube now. Boom. An honor again to have my brother PT Prashant Trivedi here on the Truman Show again today. How are you, PT?
I'm doing fine with PHI as always,
Yeah,
and
as
hope,
always.
hope all is well with you, Yannick, and everything is
Yeah,
in Canada.
so far so good. The curfew is off and all that stuff. The last time we talked together, we were talking about curfew and the Babylonian measures to prevent the child from wandering around at night. But
Yeah,
anyway, today we're going to talk about the child's purpose. And
right.
it's been a long time. I think, like I said to you at the beginning when we were just talking, I'm probably sure we have touched those topics in the past about children and stuff. But I want to go a little bit deeper today
Yeah,
because, for my experience, okay, some people don't have children by choice.
right.
Some people cannot have children, like they're
Yes,
infertile. That's
yes,
possible. And some have children by
yes,
choice or
yes,
have children because it's an accident. Suddenly, it's something we do pretty much. I don't like the word conscience so much, but unconsciously we
yes,
reproduce and we go around and that's it.
yes,
So, like any other animal here
yes,
on Earth,
yes,
like we
yes,
reproduce. So, but I think that even if you have children, don't have children, all this, you don't even know why.
yes,
For my experience, I have had children. Like today, I question the 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 idea of having children. Why are we having children? Just
right,
to make them a robot of the system, or to be divine being created for a higher purpose, a divine purpose?
yeah,
And also, there is the ones that deliberately choose to not have children to serve a higher purpose. There is,
right.
like,
Yeah, yeah,
probably
yeah,
you.
yeah,
I don't know if
yeah,
you have
yeah,
any children,
yeah.
PT.
No, no, I don't. But the thing is that, like, we can start it from the beginning. I
Yeah,
mean, about the unconscious part. Like, the thing is, as far as having children is concerned, is that when people look at children, they think they are small little things, right? So they think that they are not beings first, okay, because they're not grown up. Like, so when they see something big and grown up, they think that's a person, but this is a child or a kid or whatever terminology is given, which I've told the difference between kid and a child, what it is in previous talks we had. The thing is that when you're looking at a being, when somebody's taking a body, so what is happening in a being is taking this physical human form. That's what is called birth. Okay. What's called birth is a being is taking this physical human form, which is a prison. So basically, a being is being born into prison. Okay. Now, if uh, beings, which are people, don't understand that for themselves, even that I'm in prison, okay, so how can they be conscious about what they're reproducing and that being will be in prison too? They won't factor that in because they don't factor it in for themselves. They don't know it for themselves. So how can they be conscious about it? Or so whenever you're bringing a being in like that, okay, then there's a sense of responsibility, right? With that,
there should be.
they, I mean, that automatically is, in nature there is, but for a human being it is more, because you have more consciousness than animals. You don't know, people are doing it like animals, but human being is supposed to be different from animals in the sense that we have consciousness and we can take conscious decision. Like, animals will not make that decision that whether you to have a kid or baby or not. They just do it. Okay, but we can make it either way. So we have this freedom, free will, which is called free will, freedom of choice in regards to a lot of things. So even to exercise that freedom of choice or freedom of, like free will, you need to know something about what this plane is, what is a human body, what is it for. You need to know, understand all of these things first. Okay, if you don't understand any of these things and you reproduce, okay, then obviously you will not be able to guide that new being who has come in here properly and tell them what the whole thing is about, because you yourself have not taken the time to find it out for yourself. So So we have the catch 22 here. Like it has to be you first. And then if you decide to bring someone in, then you better tell them the right thing, you know, and guide them in that kind of way. But that education is completely missing now. And school obviously doesn't give that education. The beings which have brought that being into this world are not going to give that education. So we have to get to a point collectively as a whole of the humankind where that education is the known to everybody, available to everybody, and that's the whole point of like even my speaking out right now to you.
But
Yeah.
there's one point also I want to make is that we are time limited to create children, to bring children into this world. Like the woman cannot
Yes.
often have children past a certain age, but it's past that certain age that we become more mature and that we should have children. I know the energy is less. Uh, I know myself past 40 something, you get less patience, less energy and stuff
Right.
for giving that to children. But this is the age, like I see sometime couples having children, but late at 40 years old.
Yeah.
Like,
I, yes, I get your point. My
you
point
get
is
the
that,
point where I
yeah,
want to go with
yeah,
you.
yeah. But the eight, like when you're 18 years old, for example, you are fully formed, like mentally, physically, 18 to 21. Like, that is the age for human being. When, and after that, to be able to figure this out, that this is a prison should not be that much of a stretch. Okay, it should not take till 40 to figure all that out. I'm saying between 18 and 21, once 18 your mind and body is fully formed, sort of like, mentally, then you should be able to figure that out within those first few years. You know, you should not take till 40 plus for you to become mature in that way.
Okay, okay,
So that's my point here, like that it should not take that long. And so because on this plane the things are very clear actually, uh, when you're 18, I mean, now you can see that people die. You can face the reality of that. You can find out people get diseases, people get all kinds of problems, issues. So it's not like that things are hidden from you after that age. Like when you're very small, 10, 11, 12, a lot of things are hidden from you in this world. The reality of this world. Okay, but a lot of the other reality of this world, I'm not talking about the reality which the beings are hiding. Not that kind of reality, just the basic reality. Just what happens to a human being, like how long you have to live. These basic lifespan of human being and all of these things. What are the problems here? That you go do schooling and then you just finished schooling by 18, right? You finished your
yeah,
all schooling, and now you have to go into university or whatever, and then you have to go into jobs. This whole specter looms. You have to take care of yourself basically, which means you have to earn money and you have to do all of this, blah blah blah. So all the pressures come. So the reality, harsh reality of this world should dawn on you by that age anyways. In the 18
okay,
21, you have to face a lot of things already. you know Now it's for you to decide whether how you deal with that, and then whether you want another being to come here and face the same thing which you are facing right now. So like it's not a fun situation. If it was a fun situation, then bringing someone in is okay, right? Like you are in a fun situation, everything is great, and everything is going to be great in the future as well. Then it makes sense to bring another being in, right? Otherwise, you are trying to basically, it's a bit. What is the word in English? It's sadistic, like,
yeah.
like to actually bring a being in and say, like, "Lo, you now you face the music." I have faced the music now.
Yeah, because also often that's what happened. We just bring children into this world, and we say often also that's another illusion that we live in, that we love our children.
Yeah.
Yes, I can say I love my children, but I don't think we take proper care of our children, like what we submit them to, all kinds of distraction. And often it's us that, we say we raise our children. It's really
Yes.
right. We raise them like you raise your beard, and it's like you cut the grass under their foot or something,
Yeah.
and
No,
you
I mean,
just.
there is no raising happening here.
Okay,
Happily, there's no raising happening. Uh, like they grow older. Let's just say that.
they grow older. Okay,
Yeah, I mean, then they're two, then they become three, and then they become four. That's all that happens. But there is no raising, because raising means evolving consciousness and all of that, like raising, and that means, and for that, like any child needs a good education from the age of 3, 4 itself, and the sooner they know the reality of this world, the better it is for them.
okay, that's what I had marked down here. The younger you know, the
Yeah,
better about
yeah,
all this. I think that's
yeah,
the key to tell. That's why often, I get this thing by Bob Marley that he said, "Tell the children the truth."
yeah,
That's what it is.
yeah,
But now, in what kind? Because when it comes to truth, I think tell the children the reality. Because when it
yeah.
comes to truth, sometimes my
Truth,
truth, your truth.
truth is, yeah, truth is a more vague word. Where if you say basic reality and basic facts, that is more a better thing than actual the word truth here. Like
Because the word truth is a lot like true. To me, it's saying true. The
yeah,
BS.
yeah.
you
I
know?
mean facts. Let's just call it facts.
Yeah.
I call it
Okay.
PHACTS facts. Okay, like disease happen on this plane. Fact. Human beings die after a certain age. Fact. Human beings go old. Fact. Like
Yeah.
this is nobody can contest these kind of things. I'm talking about facts which cannot be contested, which are not open for interpretation, which people cannot have debate on, you know, which is not subject to any of these things,
Yeah.
which are very clear to one and all, So that kind of thing they have to know first, basics.
And often we find ourselves offering gift to children. Okay, we offer them gift at their birthday, Christmas, like the whole thing. It's the thing is on repeat continually to me, the
Yeah,
calendar.
yeah,
But what is the best gift we can really offer a child for his life? Personally, I have an idea, but I want you to really, like you said, tell them the truth young. That is
yeah,
that
yeah,
the best
yeah. The
gift you
best
can
gift
give?
for them is to understand that they are in a prison. They are in a prison, to tell them that they are in a prison and they have to break out. Okay, it's their responsibility, their work to get out of it.
Break out of the matrix.
Yeah, so no, first they have to know you're in a prison. Like when people are not in a prison, like the prison, what people consider prison is, like where one with the walls and one with those iron rails. I think that's a prison. This realm itself is a prison.
Yeah.
you know, the moment you're born, your physical body is a prison. Even your physical body is a prison. Okay. Now your spirit is sitting inside it, and it is in that prison for that period of time. It can't go out, it can't do anything. It's just stuck in that prison. Okay. So the more they understand that education is the best gift, because then they have a longer time to figure a way out. Okay, like if you are in a prison, and the more time you get to get out of it, right? Like the more you can figure out, the better, isn't it?
And it's, I think also it has to do with the brain of a child can absorb a lot easier stuff that you tell them young than if you wait at 16-year-old and they're all programmed by the system.
Yeah, yeah, they can, because they can take facts.
That's
Okay,
it.
I mean, they can take facts, but the so-called adults, grown-ups, don't think that they can,
Okay.
because they see them as little beings. They don't see them as a being. If you see it as a being, then you can tell it facts. But if you see it as like something small, oh no, it's a small thing, how will it understand? Then you will not be able to. But they can take the facts, you know. I mean, you can tell them about disease, death, decay, old age, and all of that thing, and they can take it, you know. So, the Buddha story also, like, there was a story about this being. I mean, whether it existed or not, we can't say, but the story is important anyways. Like, he was kept in his palace, like a king kept his son in a palace for the whole time, like since he was 3, 4 till the age of 21. You know, he never let him get out of the palace. He never let him see the world. He never got to see anybody suffering. He never ever got to see disease, pain, death, nothing. Okay, for age of 3 to 21. Okay, nothing. Okay, always in the palace, just taken care of, never going out. Okay, one time at age 21, he took some servant and his charioteer and said, like, take me out. I want to see what the world is like actually. So when he went out, he first saw somebody's was being cremated, and then they were burning the fire. So they said, "What is this?" He said, "This person has died." So that was a shock to him. He said, "Oh, so this will happen to me too one day." Then he said, "Yeah, yeah, it'll happen to you too. It happens to everyone." Anyway, so that was a shock to his system. Okay, and then he saw somebody suffering on the side. Like he said, "What has happened to him?" He said, "This person is sick." But he said, "What is sickness?" He said, "This is called disease. It can happen to anybody. It is a fact of life here that this happens to anybody." So he, even that. So he saw these realities like sickness, death, and all suffering, and all these kind of things, and it totally jolted him that this is the existence, and this all can happen to me, and can all happen to me. Then immediately he went out to the forest that I have to find a way out of this situation. This is a mess. This is not a fun situation to be in. Like, even though his father had protected him for that long, when the truth, the facts basically came in front of him, when he was not shielded from that. And that's what happens. Most of the so-called kids right now are shielded from facts. Okay. And that's what makes them into brats, and that's what creates more mental psychological problem for them than would be the case if they were told the facts. If they were told the facts, then they would have to face it, and you will see they will not get spoiled. A lot of people are always complaining, "Oh, my kids are getting spoiled," and how to control them. They're going crazy, and when you do all these gift things, which you mentioned, all this gift stuff, it is somehow to give them a wrong impression of this place. This is not a prison. That is a fun place where you get gifts. Yeah. Okay. So it creates a wrong impression in their mind about this place instead of creating a correct impression. You know, that at one point you'll have to do a job to survive or anything. Like when you're giving gifts, you're not telling that to your kids. People are not,
Hmm.
like they're just being so-called like growing up thinking that they will never have to do anything and just gifts will come. That's the general impression which is given to them. But when they suddenly reach age of 18, 21, which I said, and now they suddenly realize that, oh no, it's not like that. The world is a totally different place than what I thought it to be, And so I think that creates more a psychological problem than if you tell them straight early on.
Exactly. And so, like you said, maturity has nothing to do with age. Now, I would like to see, because for myself, my own experience, I haven't got in touch with the big picture, or if you want to call it, before 40 years old. But what if I would have got in touch with this very young? Like,
Yeah.
for your own experience, have you got in touch with reality very young?
Yes. Yeah, very young. I mean, 18. As soon as you turn 18, I think anybody can. Like, it's not I did it, but all beings can, because there's an opportunity.
Yeah, yeah,
Some
yeah,
take
for
it,
sure.
some take it, some don't take it. But the opportunity is there. You know, as soon as
Okay,
you, yeah.
where, because you come from a woman, you come from a mother, so were your parents very enlightened, or it's something that you've been taught? Is it something that,
No, no. I mean, and it doesn't happen to anybody. Nobody's taught these things. Okay, so including me.
okay,
In this day and age, nobody is taught these things.
you
So I was
cannot
not
be
taught these
taught
things.
these
You have
things?
to figure it out yourself, because, like I said, after 18, it's not about the parents, right? You are out in the world. You are in a university. You have to see the world. You have to face the world. It's not about what the parents have said, not said. It does not matter anymore. What matters is how you see it. Like, what is your perception of it?
Yeah,
So yeah.
perception, perspective, very good word, because at 18, I didn't like, at every time you get older or you get younger, I prefer to say I get
Yeah.
younger,
Yeah.
but in reality I'm getting older. So every time I go towards a, a higher age, I find myself having different perspective on younger beings and on older beings. Like
Right.
at the age of 20, I didn't have the same perspective on the 70-year-old man that I have today at 48, looking at them. So, as you grow and mature and get older, you change perspective a lot on a lot of things also.
Yes,
So,
yes. But basic perspectives don't change. For example, no one likes to get old. For example,
okay.
like if anybody 20-year-old sees a 70-year-old, 80-year-old, and they're going slowly and they don't have the energy, you have the energy, and you don't want to be in that shoes, right? You don't want to be in that shoes, right? That perspective is the same, right? Right. But the thing is that if you realize that you will be one day, it'll happen to you too. That fact is important thing to face. Okay. So, what I'm saying is that facing of facts of this world, of this plane of existence, the quicker you do it, the better it is. And if so-called parents teach you that at age of 3, 4, 5, like in Vedic times, in ancient times, everybody was told about that as early as possible. So that was the best way because it gives you more time to figure it out and you don't get lost in the drama of this world. Right now, whatever craziness the system has made on people is because this basic thing is not being taught. Then only you can bombard them with all this kind of mind programming and other nonsense. You know, Once you face these facts and you are actually clear about this, then there's nothing from outside which can
Yeah.
really
And
get.
what is exactly now, if we talk about children, what is the parents' responsibility really with all that you said? We have a certain responsibility, and I don't think it's to destroy them, it's to build them up. But how can we, like, is the failure of your children become your responsibility because you haven't took responsibility to like open your own eyes? And so can you blame yourself for their failure or to open their eyes, or
No,
like,
because you can't. Okay, like the thing is, you can't blame because they're also separate being. Okay, I mean, if parents don't do the right thing and they don't tell them the right thing or whatever they do because they don't know themselves,
yeah, exactly.
then they still have a chance at age of 18 to 21 again themselves. Once their brain is fully formed, which is fully conscious, like human beings' brain takes that long. Your body is developing and it keeps on growing, growing, and after that it
Yes.
stops growing. Okay, so when they reach that point, physical point, after that they can do the whole thing themselves. Okay, it's not from like what age I reached and then I took over. So whether I got any instructions from parents or not did not matter
Did not
at that
matter.
time. At that time. Okay. So
Yeah.
finally it'll be their responsibility from then on. You know, like parents' responsibility is only in the beginning when you can tell them things because you know and you've experienced that and they haven't as yet. What is the
Then
difference?
it becomes a responsibility.
Yeah, because difference
That's it.
between you and them is just the experience, right?
Yeah.
You have experienced certain things on this plane and they haven't, right? Now you know what it is like. So you can tell them, look, it is like this. So it's
Because often we put the blame on others instead of taking the blame for our own failure to open our eyes to this world, or
yeah.
to realize real
And
eyes, realize real lies.
that's why it's important to have that thing before you decide to have babies. Otherwise, babies making babies. If babies make babies, then you know they nothing can be transmitted. So it'll be a cycle of ignorance. I call it cycle of ignorance. Like ignorance to ignorance to ignorance to ignorance, and which that's what creates the mass consciousness, the sheep consciousness, whatever you want to call it. Like
Yeah.
that cycle of ignorance creates that. So no consciousness rises in that. So and that's not the purpose of human birth. Purpose of human birth for everyone was to get out of this. That thing. You're born here as a punishment. This is a punishment. Okay. When you're sent to prison, right? Because you do something wrong, right? You are there for a certain amount of years or whatever, a certain amount of months or whatever. Your whole point is to get out, right? That's so.
Yeah.
This is a prison existence. So, like, let's understand that and be clear about it. Let's not, you know, cover it up in some shiny package, you know, and say
Yeah.
no, it's not. It's not like that. Like which a lot of new age has been trying to do, and a lot of things have been trying to. Uh, but that's this is not an existence where you have like it takes you 18, 20 years to grow. Then you only have 20, 30 years that thing. Then you start growing old. Then you have all this that thing. This is not a proper existence. Okay, this is not like how existence is meant to be. Okay, the life here on human life and here on earth is that's why it's not given for that long. Some people say, oh, we should live for 200 years, 300 years, 400 years. Okay, and I say, like, I mean, that'll be a tough thing. I mean, imagine in 60, 70, 80 years you get that many disease. In 200, 300 years you might get so many. And yeah, and is it actually feasible? Is this plane actually feasible for long life like that? You know, people don't
Exactly.
think any people don't think anything. People don't think anything through. So they have to understand that this is the situation. We are in this conundrum. We are in a prison. Okay, then let's try and break out. Let's find a way. What is a way to break out of this so that we don't get another body again? Because it's not going to end. You're going to leave this body. The spirit is going to come out. And if you have not mastered this game, if you have not gone past why you were thrown here, you will be sent again. And when you're sent again, then you will have to go through the whole thing again. It takes 18 years to grow, grow up, get your own consciousness, and then like 30, 40 years to do something, then old age, and then back. And if you look at human life, you see one third of human life goes in sleeping. Okay. So let's say if you have like lifespan of 80 years, okay, 90 years, let's say 90. So 30 years are gone in sleep. That leaves 60 only. Okay. Out of 60, 18, 20 go in growing up. Okay. So you take out that, you have 40.
Not
Okay.
much time.
You're 40. Out of that 40, a lot of things, like half of it goes in just taking care of yourself, getting that thing, house building, eating this thing. That's 20 more gone. Okay, that leaves 20 only. Okay, so you can see what the situation we are in. Like, so
Yeah.
yeah,
I
this is
was
the
kept. Excuse me.
this
Go
is the
ahead.
kind of education which children should get.
That's exactly what I was doing with Gavin the other day. I was calculating how many times in my life I pass sleeping, I pass uh, pooping on the toilet, I pass there, I pass there, and I calculated all this, and I said, "Look, that's how much time we waste doing all these things without even often realizing it."
Yeah,
Yeah,
and you can see, and after out of that, last 20 years of your life, you will be very feeble, like 70 to 90 and stuff like that.
exactly.
Like, so there is feebleness and that thing, and then there are diseases on top of it, like
You get
which we have
sick
not
and weak, and
which we have
yeah,
not taken into account.
exactly.
Okay, anything. So you are seeing the time is dwindling, 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 dwindling. Like, so what is the best thing? Best thing will always be to be as quick as possible, to start anything as quick as possible, do everything straight away, there and then, whatever needs to be done, you know.
Exactly. That's why when you texted me, like I got in touch with you, I think it was Friday or Thursday. I said, I gave you a message, and you said, "Okay, Sunday." I said, "Yeah, no questions asked. I'm there. There's no, I have no time to waste or no question. I'm there
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah,
I'll cancel everything else I have to do to be here. That
yeah.
is important for
Yes.
my
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So the point is,
and
people have a
everybody
wrong
else.
sense of how much time human life has,
Exactly.
which is not right. Okay, now these are facts. So these facts can be, I mean, now these facts cannot be argued by anybody, can they? You can't go into truth, lies, or anything like that in this. This is just what is. Like, there is nothing. So these are the kind of facts. Why are those not told, told to the little beings? I won't call them children or what.
Little beings,
Little beings, like the new ones.
the new ones.
Yeah, Yeah, it's like a new prisoner comes to the colony, to the prison. You have to tell them, look, this is
Yeah.
this is what it is. These are the, and it is tough out here. Prisons are tough. Prisons are not easy, right? Like,
But
so yeah,
often we are born, like you said, born into a prison, but
yeah,
into a prison physically also because we give birth in hospitals. And
yeah,
ask your children if they like to go to an hospital, see the doctor. No children will tell you they like to go there.
yeah.
But we are born in there. Now, is there a major difference with a child born in nature, living off nature, than a child born in the hospital in
The
Babylon?
point is that human body will be a prison no matter where you're born.
Okay, no matter where you are born, it doesn't
It
matter.
does not make
Okay,
any difference because you'll still have to do those same physical processes. You'll have to live to, you
okay,
have to eat, otherwise you won't survive. Okay, yeah, you'll have to do all the body's activities regardless of where you were born. Okay, and this you'll still have to sleep. You'll have to do like the body. All of these still things will apply to you no matter where you're born.
yeah.
It makes no difference. But if you're born in that, then that can be used even as more of a that thing. Look, it is crazy. There are things like this which you don't like to go to. Okay, so that can be used even more in terms of education. You know, so
Because today even a child born on the top of a mountain in Tibet submit to very few distraction
yeah,
will have the same process as a child born in New York,
yeah,
downtown New
yeah.
York.
Yes, 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 and yeah. So you'll have still have to eat and do all of the things and everything. The body functions because body itself is a prison. It does not matter where you're born or so that's by itself a thing. So
And now we have the same process realization whether you're in wherever you are in the world. You
yeah,
have to grow within, like
yes,
it's every being is subject to this, no?
yeah, yeah, and it is a thing that, and you cannot let. That's why a lot of people commit suicide and stuff. They think that once they get rid of this body, they'll be out. Okay, they'll be free.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, yeah, because but that's another wrong notion that once you like getting because system works like that. If you do that, you'll be sent back again, and even in a worse body than right now what you had this time. So it is not a practical thing to do in a long term, like so
Often we want to. You're gonna like what I come with. Often we want to set an example for our children. Okay,
yeah,
we want to be an example of truth, of righteousness, and all that. But often, even me, I find myself that I'm better living the lie outside of my house than living the truth that I have inside, because the programming on others like is so heavy. Like I explained you in previous shows we did together, I find myself today being more quiet than before, because I find it's like it's some you cannot taught these things. It cannot be taught to you. You have to seek and find and realize
yeah,
yourself.
yeah.
So
The
how do
seeking,
we cope with reality, not living the lie, and giving an example to your children of not living the lie, but then often you find yourself living the lie again?
the thing is that those things, lies and truths, come beyond the basics.
Okay.
What I'm saying is like what you have to yourself say all the time to yourself and them is that death is the reality, this is the reality, this is the reality, and this is the reality of this plane. Okay, which is a fact. Okay, so the more and more that goes into their consciousness, because more it's repeated by you or them or whenever the talk happens, then to find the way out or anything like how that is to be done, that requires seeking. That will create the seeking, because you are not creating the seeking just by saying, look, oh, seek. Okay, seeking is not generated like that. Seeking is generated by the fact that you have understood some basic facts, or you have realized some basic facts about what situation, condition, position you are in right now. Like once you have this body, human body, and you are out here on this earth, you're on this plane, and you are here now. Okay, and what does that mean? Okay, so that basic reality has to be given immediately and all the time. And it's some people don't get it in one day, 2 days, 3 days. But if every time you talk that only, you don't talk anything else, then they will have to face it. And even if they in front of you, they pretend to not listen. Okay, they will get it that this was spoken to me. Okay, it was spoken to me many times. Okay, so and
That's
whenever they
often what I
see,
say.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's whenever they see something like that in the world, it'll come to them. Oh, yes, that's what I was told, right? Like this is what happens. Yeah. So
That's what I say often to my children. I want to make sure my voice is in your head.
yeah,
I want you to hear my voice, and I think it's important that the voice in your children's head is your voice of the, I don't like to say truth, but the reality, what you taught
yeah,
them and stuff, because often they're submit to so many influence, especially today, their world have changed a lot.
mm,
I'm on Earth. Their world have changed a lot, and they have daycares now. Now parents give away responsibility very very early with their child and giving
yeah,
because they're busy working and stuff.
yeah,
But if you go back 50 years ago, like here in Quebec, there was almost no daycares. So now we even bring babies to other being like
yeah.
how. What's
Yeah,
your
but like
opinion on that?
I don't think that none of that matters to one. Like how much time parents
Okay, that doesn't matter.
spend
Okay,
with kids or don't spend with
okay,
children. It does not matter because it's about what is happening in the time you're spending. Even if you
okay.
spend half an hour with 15 minutes, if you say the right thing, that's important. Otherwise, if you're spending like whole day with them and you are not saying any factual reality
Doing
or
a
that,
bunch of
what's the
nonsense.
point? Then it's
Yeah.
better. What is the difference? Daycare, they'll at least play with other kids. what's what are you achieving by being with them? Like that goes from any being to any being. You know,
So
like
often they're better in daycares because they get to interact with other children of their
yeah,
age than
yeah,
be at home with an adult that is completely lost in nonsense. No,
yes, yes. So it's not like this is
I
people say,
like
oh, you,
this.
you should spend time and all of that. That does not matter. Like it's like
Okay.
whatever time you're going to spend, what are you saying in that? What is the communication? What is the nature of that time? You know?
What is the nurturing time? That's it.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
I think
yeah,
that the time you
yeah,
pass with your children, you should pass that time
yeah,
nurturing them.
yeah, yeah. And
That's it.
they have to be done. Like right now, there are no children on Earth. Like I made a video called "No Children on Planet Earth" a long time ago. You know,
Yeah.
and because they can't be called children now, they're kids. Okay, right now they're all kids. Okay, because they're spoiled. Okay, spoiled by parents, but spoiled by the system. Spoiled, they're spoiled. Okay, so they don't have this own, like you can only be children when you have that innocence, where you are really wanting to know. Okay, so to bring childlikeness into them, actual childlikeness, they will have to learn the realities of this plane. If they don't, they cannot be children. Period. Yeah.
Often also I find myself not wanting to bother so much with children because like you said maybe by programming but I find them often very non-present like in La La Land and I can I like I had children around me like this but
Yeah, yeah,
often
yeah.
I'm
I mean,
like
uh,
can
yeah, it's communication, because the communication should be like very clear about these things from the very beginning, and they should know that every time they're going to deal with you, they're going to bring this thing up. Just like we have had so many talks, okay, before as well. So every time you were to talk with me, I would bring up this topic of death and that thing. I would always bring
yeah,
that up.
yeah, yeah.
So that you can't deal with this person without it going there. Okay. So once they have that clear, you know, and it has to be like that. So that means you have done your work, because you don't know how to get out. You can't do that, but at least you can tell that there is a situation here and we are trapped and we have a problem. Okay, like as long as you explain the problem, at least there's a beginning, there's a start. Okay, so I mean, I had Vedic wisdom and all of that knowledge to go by, to take it further from there. I was in a situation like that in India, which people in the West might not be, or that things might not be in that situation, but at least you have a start, that starting point, the ignition, the engine, the start point. And if that is done, that is the best you can do. Like, I mean, because I think there's no person on earth who doesn't, like, who's grown old, who doesn't know about old age, death, disease. Okay, there's no such person. You can't show me a person at age of 21 who doesn't know these things, and who's like, there's no such person. Okay, that person does not exist. Okay, so they definitely can tell this thing. So everybody can teach that much. Look, this is the reality we are in. Okay, everybody. I mean, everybody. Okay, so, and that is enough, according to me. That is enough of a cue, enough of a starting point.
Yeah.
Yes, yes,
Often there's blockage also into relationship with children. There's the ego. A child, don't teach them about ego and shit. They don't know about that. They don't care. They don't have a huge ego. Like, I'm talking before the age of 5, like
yeah,
6, 5, 4. You can
yeah,
talk to them very straight, and they will
yeah,
absorb it, and they will look at. But often is like, because I can barely remember when I was that age. There's that thing too. You don't, when as you grow older, why do you lose memory of those years? Like, if I go back
yes.
to
It's
20 years old, I
because
remember.
human body is designed like that.
Okay.
I don't understand human body. Human body is degenerative.
Oh, because it's irrelevant, like you said
Yeah, it is a
before.
degenerative. Like, human body is degenerative. Like, once it reaches a peak, and then it starts going down the hill. It goes up like that. Then
Okay.
you have sharp memory, this thing, that thing, and then it goes down like that. You know.
Yeah.
So like just like your brain, that thing, and then your brain cells start in time. So all that is going to happen. This is part of this physical existence and this body, which are again facts of what, and these are the facts they need to know, that this is always not going to be like that. They have to have this panic to a certain extent in them. That is always not be like that. Like, right now you're running around with energy, but it will not always be like that. Okay,
Exactly.
okay. Right now you're taken care of by somebody or that thing, but it will not always be like that. Okay, okay. Like, these facts are most important for them, and they're ready for it. In a way, they don't have any problems. Like, it's the people who are creating this, you know, because they're not seeing them as beings. They are same as you. They're just in a littler body. They are a being. They are a spirit. They are not essentially different from you in that way. So, so
But
to stop
often,
seeing,
yeah, like
yeah,
I said, the perception we have on children because of our huge inflated ego,
yeah,
so often we reject even what they have to teach us, because sometimes, like, I'm sure Gavin can teach stuff to older beings here that they have no
yeah,
clue about, because of all the stuff I've been telling him and stuff. Not only Gavin, but Sam and Abby and
yeah. Like,
all my three
what they can
children.
teach
They
mostly
can.
is like this only: the reaction. The teaching is the reaction. Like reaction. Like, if they see somebody sick or that thing, they'll say, "Oh, what is? I don't like this. What is happening?" Like, like that kind
Yeah,
of thing. But, like, that's that sort of thing, because they don't have any set way, like adults, like how to deal with the situation. Which adults have learned, or these kind of things. You know. So
but
so
will the teaching be enough? Because often I find my own children, like others, being not victim but finding themselves encouraging the system, like even me sometimes. So
yeah,
do we, is it enough, the teachings? Because I think the society and the social pressure out there is so strong that sometimes your voice get very, very diminished in them,
yeah,
and the weight of the outside world is often stronger than your own weight inside
yeah,
them.
Yeah,
more heavy. Then, so
but
how do you?
so you give them the biggest heaviness first, which nothing can be that heavy. Like there's nothing more heavy than the reality of death.
Okay, okay.
There's nothing from outside which is as heavy as the reality of death. Okay, so why not give them the heavier things first, which are more heavy than anything
Okay.
from outside? Okay, fact that you are going to grow old and die is much more than anything which they can push at them from outside. You know, so there is, I mean, that is heavy. you know, yeah.
Because
So
so what you're saying is I shouldn't worry about what they do with what I taught them or what I told them. I should. It's their own time to deal with that and to
yeah,
major
but they
it
should
into.
just know what the situation is. Okay, what are the distractions for? Okay, whatever the society and system is giving distractions is only for not facing these facts.
Okay.
That is the whole point. For everything, the point is that never face the fact of old age, death, disease, anything. Just don't face these facts and just keep on functioning without facing these facts.
Just keep on having fun.
Yeah, just keep on functioning without facing these facts. That's the whole point. There is no other point to the million distractions. Okay, there is no other point. So once you say that, you have gone past all the distractions anyways. That is bigger than all the distractions.
So, PT, the distraction doesn't matter either. Then, if
No.
because I find myself distracted sometimes, but I'm
Yes, so
very
yeah,
aware. Very
yeah, because either your consciousness is there that okay, this is going to happen to me, I've got to do something about it. The more they feel like that there's disease, old age, death, and all of these things, they'll have a thing. I'll have to do something about it. Like, see, this is not going to be fun because kids understand that this is going to be fun or not fun, right? They understand that,
yes.
right? That is one thing they.
Oh yeah, they know when
Yeah,
it's fun or not.
that is very right.
It's very clear.
Yes. So
And they won't do they often get very frustrated if you give them stuff to do that is not fun. Like I asked Gavin before to clean the shower. He looks at me all discouraged and like I know it's not fun, but it's something that you
no,
should learn and do and like I don't
it's not
know.
about little things. I mean, these are very little things.
Yeah, yeah.
When you look in the big picture of what the situation is, the shower, that thing seems like a very small thing.
Exact. But for
Like,
now it seems like a huge thing.
because the other perspective is not there.
Okay. Okay.
Because the other perspective is not there, that things can get really bad out here. That perspective is not there. So if all of the media, all of this education was all of the things we're just talking about, okay, human life is this, disease, that thing, it's a prison, you have to break out of it. For that, you have to live this life like this, you have to do in order to live it properly and make use of human life so that you don't have to be born again. Okay, then what? Then people will go in that direction. Okay, what is missing right now in people, everyone's home, everywhere around the world, is this basic that thing. There's no world like house in the world where this kind of talk happens. Like you won't find parents and kids discussing death and disease and old age. That is never going to happen. You can go into anyone's house.
Unless
Yeah.
they face it young or they face it themselves, then
Even if
it's
they face it, like the death, they will say, "Oh, don't worry about it. Something happened." They will
yeah,
say,
it's
"Like,
true.
okay, what
Yeah.
happened? I don't know what happened, but okay, like this is just a funeral, and
Often, yeah.
and that's it. Yeah, don't pay any attention. to-
Yeah.
no- Nothing happened really, you know. And if they have questions, where is this person gone? If the body's died, what is there? Is the person still there or not there? There's no answer. Like, so they just say like, okay, best not to
Best not to just
go
think
there. Like,
about it. Exactly.
yes. So people are escaping that, the basic facts and realities of the human existence in a human body. They're totally avoiding that. Okay, so if any being, not just to kids, to any other person you talk to, if you talk this kind of on this kind of level, that is the best thing you can do for anybody, not just for kids. It's if anybody you meet socially or anything, right now, like if you can bring that reality to them, and then you have practice, right? If you talk to everybody like that, then you will talk to your kid like that too, right? You will have practice, right? You will
Yeah.
always be in this way of being, this wavelength, this that thing, and that's it. And there's no other talk which is required after that. If you know something about it, like what to do, then you can tell them. And if you don't know what to do after that, then you can tell them, find out. You are there, you should find out. Like, that's it.
Often as parents, also, we find ourselves frustrated towards what our children are doing with their life. I'm sure I'm not the only one to have experienced that feeling. Often we see them wasting their time completely when they're
Yes.
young, like they could do something. So, is it they could do something greater than wasting their time? But is it the parents' responsibility or the child the responsibility, and how's a child the responsibility come to be awake within them enough to say, today I'm gonna have a project? Like often they're projectless. They go around just like leaf in the wind. And
Yes, all of that is because they don't have this education first. My point
okay,
is, if the
education
parents had
first.
spoken those things to them, and that we have very little time, we talked about this time chart. You give them the time chart. The human life is this much is sleeping, this much is this much is that. You've given them the time chart. Even after that, they waste time. Then it's their responsibility, right?
Okay.
You have showed how little time there is. Yeah. And after that, it becomes, once you say that, and they have heard, because they have free will. Okay. So then it becomes their responsibility. But what one can do from one side, not just with kids, with anybody in the world, like you are talking on your talk show or wherever you're talking or anything to anybody or anything, is to just give them this, you know, this basic, that's it. So,
We said often, the PT, time is of the essence. That's what
yes.
a bit we were. Now we say often when we come to time, we say they waste time or they spend their time on this and that. Uh, we use also these words like we waste money and spend money. Like, why is time often related to money? And people say time is money and this and that. So, what is the.
Yeah. I mean,
And
see, like when you don't understand the purpose of human life, okay, you don't understand what it is for. You have no idea, right? Like they have created a society right now where human beings don't have any idea of what human life is for. Okay. Then what will be remaining? What will be remaining is that you'll have to somehow waste it. Okay. But if you have to waste it, like in wasting, they have made a currency called money, which allows you to waste time in various ways. The more of it that you have, the more chances of you have of wasting it in different ways. Okay. So that's why it is equated to that, you know, because it's all about spending time in distractions. But the distractions cost.
okay.
They have a cost, right? So you have to pay that cost by again your time. Distraction also, you are wasting your time, okay, in the time, in the distraction. Then to get that distraction, you have to get the quantity called money, which again you will waste your time getting. Okay.
And again, you go in prison to pay
Yeah.
your time. You
Yeah.
pay with time in
Yeah.
prison.
Yep. Yeah. So time.
So
It's the same thing. So that's all it is. Okay. Because the purpose of human life is not known. Once the purpose of human life is known, everybody knows it. Everybody understands what you have to do. That's like a mission. You have a goal, then understand you have to do this for myself if I don't want to be born again. Because if I'm born again, it'll be the same cycle: disease, decay, old age, death, you know, like I'll be
yeah,
in the same loop. First, first 15, 20 years, I won't even know what's happening. Like, okay, 10 years, like, and all of that. So that's a scary thing. Human life. is a very scary thing. It's more scary than any monster story, any
Yeah, yeah.
scary story which Disney can come up with. If you actually look at it properly. Okay.
So, so are we saying that all the distractions, like the Disney stuff and all the cartoons we make them watch,
Yeah. Yeah.
could have no effect at all on their has no effect at all? Because first of all, like I said, I don't even remember. I remember Goldorak. I used to watch Goldorak when I was younger,
Yeah.
but yeah, because I watched it so often and stuff, I can probably sing the song again. But most of the stuff I did, I don't even remember.
Yeah.
But
That's not the
I
point.
remember the bad things.
Yeah, the distraction will not be the thing.
Uh,
Like once people understand that, any beings understand that, they will not be fall prey to distraction for very long. Even if it fall little bit, but then they'll come back to that. Because this thing will never go. This thing, once it gets into your consciousness
I
for
think it's yeah.
one lifetime, it cannot go. Okay, it goes deep. Okay, because it's basic, it's core, it's real. There is it's more deep than anything. Okay. Yeah.
And
So
it's big what you're saying, because often we tend to think that when we put children on TV, or that's gonna affect their whole life and make them such a, a wasted being here on Earth. But in the long run, it's very irrelevant, I find, because
yeah,
like you
because
said, once your brain is fully mature, you can realize all these
yeah,
things, and
yeah, no,
it
because
has no effect that I watch cartoon today on me.
yeah, because once you're seeing that in TV, you'll see the same things. Somebody's getting hurt, somebody's getting sick, somebody's getting old age, somebody's getting dead.
Yeah.
In TV also, you'll see the same things. You will find the same things there too. Within this world, the same things exist. They'll exist there too. There's nowhere you can look in this world. You know, like a flower comes,
Yeah.
it blooms, then it is gone and dead in winter again. Nowhere in this world you will look, you will not find this. Whether it's in nature, whether it's in TV, whether it's in anything, everything will point towards the same thing. Actually, everything is pointing towards the same thing, but you just have to face it.
You have to see it, face it.
Yeah, that's all. You know,
So just to close this talk, what is the ultimate solution now for us beings of this earth? Is this to keep procreating, to create children,
no,
or
no,
to
no, 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 no,
just
no. To face the reality oneself, no. You have to face the reality oneself that you are in a prison, okay, and try to find out your own exit from the prison, okay. So, and those who already have children, who have already have kids, who have given birth already and all that, they should tell the basics, facts to them, their kids. And after, it's up to them whatever they do with that. That's not in your hands. But what is in your hands is your own thing that you can work to get out, okay, for yourself. That is your job for yourself. And in regards to them, you can just tell them the basic facts. Yeah.
because there will always be beings on this earth. You cannot stop people from reproducing. It's human nature. We want to reproduce, and that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So, but
do,
that's fine. That then you can share this. Well, it's a very simple thing. What I've told to share is not a very tough thing. Like any grown-up adult knows these things, right? If you don't have to be PhD, you don't have to be a scholar, you don't have to be like a very learned
yeah,
person
very.
to say these things.
And exact anybody have eyes can go outside on a sunny day and look at the sun. What are we that blind that we cannot even see that the sun is moving in the sky?
Yes,
Like,
all of that will happen later. The perception of all of that will happen later. First, these facts have to be clear. Whether they clear through TV, it doesn't matter. I told you, once you tell these facts to any kid, no matter where they look, they will find them. If they look
yes,
into nature, they will find them. If they don't look into nature, they will look into TV, they'll still find them. If they look into internet, they'll find them. If they look anywhere.
serious, that's true.
They will
Because
find you.
whether you're born in nature, you are living in nature, you look in nature, you'll find it. Whether you're born in New York, Montreal, wherever you're born, you look on the internet, you'll find
You
it.
will find it. You will find it in any medium or any media. Does not
Yeah,
matter. Does not matter. These facts will stare back at you all the time. All that you have to have is that voice, which
yeah,
is very clear. Okay. And
exactly.
then once you realize that you're in a prison, you can go about breaking it. Once you don't know you're in prison, you can never break out of it.
Can never break out of it. So the awareness is crucial
Yeah,
here.
most important, like first you have to know that you're in prison, right? You
Yeah,
have to know that. I mean, why hide that? And that's what is being hidden from the kids, right? Our kids told that they are in a prison.
yeah.
When it comes out in the first, it starts crying even in the first place. Why? Because it is subconsciously aware it is in a prison. One and two, obviously.
I think so. Sometimes
Yes,
that's what
yes,
I think. They
yes,
a
yes,
child cries like the other day. I was hearing the baby
yes,
next door
yes.
crying excessively. They're like they cry for something. They don't cry just to cry. They
Yeah,
cry
because
because they
it is
want
you're being
something.
born
They
in a
need.
prison, and it is a sort of a hell, the existence here. So,
That
so that is
they were having a party. It was loud music and all, and people
yes,
screaming and yelling, and the baby was crying, crying, crying like crazy. I'm
yes,
like,
yes,
maybe calm down around him,
yes.
around her,
Yes.
or
Yes, so obviously, like there is a knowing that whether you do that so-called party, you're still gonna age, and if you eat something or drink something, you'll be gotten drunk, then you'll have a hangover, and then you'll have these problems, and you'll have all of that. Like out here, everything is like that, it's
yeah,
yes. So people have to realize that, like even party leads to sickness and this and that and everything, you know. So people have to realize all these facts, and that is what is being hidden, like this fact that they're born into a prison, uh, and that is the worst thing you can do against any being is stop that reality from being known. Yeah,
that's it. That's it. Your voice. Make sure. So what I rethink the most today is make sure your children hear your voice.
yeah.
Your voice.
In regards to the prison,
Yeah, yeah. So
that's all.
that's it.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you very much, PT, for your presence.
Yeah,
It's you're not a present. You're a present every time, and you are in the present. So it's
yeah,
a very enlightening for everyone to hear you. And that's how we grow. We exchange thoughts and vision, and we have eyes. It's to have
yeah.
a vision.
Yeah,
So
like this is beyond thought. This is just facts. Just
this
facts.
is facts. Exact.
Just facts.
Exact. It's
Thoughts are
beyond
not
thoughts.
important. Facts are.
Yeah. So that's it. So we're gonna see each other again eventually for sure.
Yeah.
So thank you everyone watching this broadcast live. That's very enriching for everyone. I'm sure to hear PT, and we will hear him again. We're out. See ya. Boom.